Look at this. This looks like an Apple product page that cost thousands of dollars to develop. I built it in under 15 minutes, completely for free and using zero coding. Just scroll and these headphones explode into 3D parts. This is Google's Antigravity, and I'm going to show you the exact workflow. And here's the problem. 99% of people fail before they start because most of them jump straight into the code and wonder why their animations look terrible. They think that all they need to do is build a video animation and then just kind of stick it onto a web page, and AI will do the rest. And this is the fundamental problem because they're using large MP4 files directly on websites, and that creates a lag and a choppy look. But if you look at my Obsidian example with these headphones, the transition is seamless. And here's a secret. I'm going to show you how you can build an assets first workflow that separates amateur sites from award-winning ones. And I'll show you why the preparation phase determines whether the final look looks professional or broken. So step one is to generate award-winning product frames in 90 seconds or less, because you don't need to render a full video. You just need 2 perfect images. And for this step, I'm going to use a tool called Google Whisk. Now, this is actually experimental and it's still inside of Google Labs, but it's absolutely amazing. And everything that you see here is either built on Gemini 3 or their video model tools called VEO. Now, we're going to use Google Whisk to generate all of our assets. So the first step is to get the first frame prompt. This is going to be the main product, the hero product, fully assembled. And so I've created a fictitious headphone called Obsidian OX900. More or less just based it on Sony's bestseller. And I've told it what I want. So if you want access to this prompt, because this is very extensive, I just spent an hour building this prompt. Click on the link in the video description and you'll find it there. Head back into Google Whisk, and where it says subject, you want to enter text because we're going to use AI to generate this image. Paste it and let's see what Whisk can generate. And here you go. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Now this is going to be the source image. So everything that we want to do from this point onwards, it has to reflect the source image. So the design, the matte finish, the layout, the metallic edges, all that has to stay the same. It has to be consistent. So the next step is to add the same prompt and paste it inside of the prompt window here. Now what this is going to do is going to generate more of the source image, which means that we have continuity and it keeps the images consistent. And you can keep generating these until you're happy. So yeah, I think both of these look kind of identical. Whisk knows and understands consistency. So let's move to the second frame. Now we're going to copy the second frame prompt, or the last prompt. And this is the explosion of all the 3D parts. Now, for some reason, language models find it difficult to understand what I mean by exploding product parts. So I've written this prompt in such a way that it understands it. I've tested it multiple times with different products. So I'm going to copy this, head back into Whisk. This time I'm going to delete this prompt and we're going to paste in the second prompt. So now we have the start image, and now this is going to produce the second and the last image. And look at that. It's actually understood the task, what I want the actual final product to look like. This looks like a very cinematic picture. I've even given it examples of how I want the picture to be taken, right? How the image should look. And if you're not happy with it, just keep generating it. Remember, Google Whisk is completely free and you're using Google's latest language models for this. So you're always going to get the best output in terms of quality. When you are happy with it, just save the start frame and just pick one of the end frames. For step 2, we need to make the images move using Google Flow. And this is where static images turn into physics-based motion without touching 3D software. And just as an FYI, Google Flow is also an experimental product inside of Google Labs, but it's still amazing. And I've actually covered this in a previous video as well. So head over to Google Labs, click on new project. And the first thing we want to do is change this from text to video to frames to video. The first step is to upload the first video. We're going to click on upload. So this is the first video that Whisk, or the first image that Whisk generated. Crop and save that. Just make sure it's uploaded in the first frame here. And you can see I was having a lot of fun with this. I actually tested it with different types of products. Then you want to do the same, but this time for the second 3D explosion image. We're going to upload it, crop and save. And here's the beauty of Google Flow, because we've uploaded both keyframes and we're going to let AI fill in the blanks. We're going to let it use its computing power, its imagination, and show us what the final render should look like. But there's one more step. Head back into the prompt sheet, and this time we're going to copy the motion prompt. Go into Whisk and just paste it here. So all I'm telling it is you've got a start frame, you've got an end frame. I want it to show an explosion with all the 3D parts taken apart and put back together again. Do that in a cinematic way. Maintain integrity of the images. Don't change anything. I don't want to change the aesthetic of the image or the form factor. I just want you to turn this into a motion picture. Click on submit, and this will take about a minute or 2. And this is what it looks like. Yeah, I gotta say that's pretty sick. If you're not happy with it, you can also render 2 versions of it, which is this option here. And I'll probably just get more than one just to make sure that you're happy with it. If you do have multiple angles and multiple renders, you can add that to other parts of your website and you can use those assets later. Once you're happy with the final output, just click on this and download the original size. Now you can upscale it. There's not much point because the next step will turn this into a bunch of images, frames, because this is how we keep it smooth when we're scrolling on the website. Okay, so for the third step, we need to turn the video into scroll ready frames because the video looks perfect, but putting in an MP4 video on your site will destroy the scroll effect. So head over to easygif.com. You want to choose video to GIF and the option is to JPG. Upload the file that was downloaded from Google Flow. And the whole point of this is that MP4 files can't be scrubbed precisely and smoothly when you're using the scroll, right? It's going to be jittery and it's going to play in a video fashion, right? So if you see all those product videos and websites like Apple, Sony does this really well. They actually use frames. When you're done, click on upload video and this will extract anywhere between 120 to 240 individual frames. So the frame rate, you want to select the maximum here, which is 30, and we're going to convert that into JPEG. So now I was doing that and you can see here, so each frame effectively, like a split second is going to be part of the video. So if I scroll down, you can see it in effect. And then once it's done, just click on download frames as zip. The next step is to make sure you extract the folder on your desktop. And this is now a scroll ready asset. The last step is to let Google Antigravity write production level code. So you have anywhere between 120 to 240 frames. Now Google's AI turns that into a scrolls triggering animation with zero coding involved. And to do that, you head over to antigravity.google. It'll bring you to this website. This is an absolute game changer. We are at the forefront of AI, what AI can build, because this is their next generation IDE/agent builder. To download whatever version you need, I'm on the Mac, so I've downloaded the Mac version. And then once it's installed, you'll see a user interface that looks like this. Now, I know it looks complicated, but it really isn't. This has been created by the agent inside of Google Antigravity. And I'm going to give you the entire prompt because remember, this is AI. You don't need to write anything that's code related. You just prompt it with the English language. The only thing you have to do is go to File and open the folder with the 120 or 240 frames in it. And Antigravity will build everything around that using my prompt. So inside the public folder, you'll see something like this. Now I've actually got 240 frames, which is absolutely fine. That's roughly what you get for like an 8-second video. And Google's going to build everything around these public images. And then when you're ready, just paste in the final Antigravity prompt from the Google Docs. So this is basically a world-class awards level creative developer. Remember, it's a prompt. I'm giving it a role. The task is to design and implement a high-end Apple level scroll stopping page for Obsidian headphones. The experience should feel like a cinematic product. And then I'm giving it a tech stack. So for this, we're going to need Next.js, Tailwind, Frame of Motion, HTML canvas style, everything I'm telling the AI to use and build. I'm not actually coding any of this. The AI is going to do all of it. And then I'm going to give it a visual direction. So I want Apple level luxury, premium, cinematic, aesthetic vibes. I don't want to blend it. And then I've given it some color scheme. So again, you can change any of this. You can modify it for your products or for your client's product. I've given it some colors. So effectively, I've just based mine on what Sony do, right? Because the Sony website is really cool. And I just wanted to model it of theirs using obviously a fictitious product. And then the nav bar should look like Apple and so on and so forth. And then just hit submit. So you've got a few options here for the language model. I just use Gemini 3 Pro because that's their best language model at this moment in time, but it will take longer to develop this. If you want to do it faster, then you might consider using 3 Flash, which doesn't have the deeper reasoning or the extended thinking that 3 Pro has, but it will develop it faster, which will come in handy when you're debugging this because you are going to get some problems, right? But don't worry, you just let the AI debug it for you. You can see here I uploaded all the images and then it went back and forth. And in about 15 minutes, I had the production ready website. Once it's ready, because I'm on a Mac, I need to run the development server, which is what npm run dev is, and then it runs off your local host. I'm not too sure if it's the same on Windows, but it should be pretty straightforward if you're running this on Windows because Antigravity will tell you what you need to do. So after about 15 minutes, I got something that looks like this, which is pretty crazy because honestly, this used to take thousands of dollars. I actually used to work for agencies that build these kind of websites. So I know exactly how much they invoice clients. And now you can do it for free in under 15 minutes without touching code, all written by AI using CSS, HTML, Frame of Motion, and all the modern libraries, extensions to make websites dynamic. You don't have to touch any of this. That's an award-winning website in 2026. I didn't use any code, it didn't cost me anything, and I built the entire thing in about 15 minutes. The prompting sheet is in the description, so go ahead and build something that looks like it costs thousands. And if you love this tutorial, click on the next video on screen, like this one, leave any comments that you have below, and I'll see you when the next video drops.